Markets Authority is working with the National Treasury to introduce a county bond to help finance infrastructure projects in the counties. New guidelines to identify projects will be issued, and based on projected revenues, they will be able to borrow cheaply from the capital markets. This is after the Commission on Revenue Allocation, in collaboration with the World Bank, Capital Markets Authority, the National Treasury, Makueni, Kisumu and Bungoma county governments, as well as other stakeholders, launched the credit ratings report for 3 counties. The counties were selected in the initial 9 pilot counties for shadow crediting. Pilot county governments for this process include Makueni, Meru, Nandi, Samburu, Lamu, Mombasa, Bungoma, Laikipia and Kisumu counties.
But basically we look at 4 key areas. The first thing we look at is the operating environment. And when looking at the operating environment, we really look at the country risk, which is the risk under which a county operates in the Kenyan environment. We don't look at sovereign risk, which looks at the ability of the sovereign to meet its obligations. So there's a slight difference between what other rating agencies would do and what we do in looking at counties. So the core of GCR's rating framework is based on our opinion that the operating environment frames the credit worthiness for all rated entities in a country. And while counties have substantial operating independence, this independence is framed within the overarching legislative environment of the Republic of Kenya. Thus, to the extent that counties can levy taxes and fees on their residents, it's only because of the legislation that the national government has put in place that they are permitted to do this. However, the relationship flows both ways. Okay? Fantastic. So I'll just finish talking about country risk, then I'll move to the slides. The relationship flows both ways. It can be argued that the economic performance of a country is really only a consequence of the cumulative economic performance of the counties within that country. Similarly, social trends in a country will be a reflection of the legislation and the targets set at the national level on the one hand, but they're completely reliant on the implementation at the county level. Based on this, we believe that country risk, which forms one part of our operating environment, is very heavily weighted in our criteria when arriving at the rating of a county. The second element we look at is the sector risk. And when we look at the sector risk, we actually look at how a county operates within the Kenyan framework. And the sector risk is common to all counties in Kenya because they're all operating in Kenya. However, they face various challenges that are unique to each of them based on their population, based on the economic environment within the specific counties, based on the on-source revenue they're able to generate within each of those counties. So that really forms the basis of the operating environment. The second thing we look at is the business profile.